Hello, good evening, everyone. I hope all of you doing well. And welcome to today's session from writing code to managing it, exploring GitHub in action.
Hi, Varshini.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening. And this session is organized by Student Tech and Careers in collaboration with Innovators Club Sphere. Now, before we begin the session, I am really happy to welcome our speakers for today, Santhosh sir and Afnan Abdul Vasay sir. Sir, can we start this session?
Sure. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
We can hear you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, sure. So we are good to start.
Yes,
right?
audible, sir.
Okay, let me start sharing my screen. Before I start sharing my screen, quick introduction about myself. So I'm Santhosh Pothnak. Been into industry since more than 15 plus years. And I'm currently working as a data architect for Persistent Systems. It's one of the top leading IT services company. And I work with other giants like Infosys, Accenture, Seal Infotech, and etc. So my experience lies in working with data, whether it may be reporting, BI, ETL, right, end to end. So I've been into various projects throughout my career, and as part of my career, we work on the code, like we work on the development, we work on the different reporting tools, different ETL code, right? So we work on the like data and the code on a day-to-day basis. So one important thing that matters for every IT person who is working with code and especially wanted to have a source control and speak the truth of the final output that we are delivering. Either it could be a as a product, either it could be a solutioning for any client or any deployment, right? So we have something called as a Git. So I know this session is more towards the Git and GitHub and the technicalities of understanding more. So there might be people, I heard a couple of them are like from college, and I think somebody was 16 years and all. So somebody might be very new to this. And also I heard one person was working on the Git for quite some time. He has pushed a lot of repositories out there. So what we'll do is we'll break up this session into two things. As I'll be taking the I'll just try to set the base, like I will be setting the foundation level, like where everybody who's very new to Git and understand what is GitHub, and then we'll transition into the next level where the other speaker will deep down you into the other technicalities of it. So let me start sharing my screen. The screen share. Okay. Let me know if you're able to see my screen. Can anybody confirm?
Yeah, we can see the screen, sir.
Okay. All right. So let's start with some basic, understanding like what exactly is Git versus GitHub. So the primary question that is arising that everyone who is hearing what is Git different from GitHub? Are they the same thing, right? So if you ever heard someone saying like push it to GitHub or commit it with Git, right? So people who are working on the ground technically, right, they talk this language, like, commit it with Git, right? This kind of terminology. In general, people also say like push it to the GitHub. So people who are very new to this would not get the point, like especially who are very newbies, and they say what is this, like both looks like same. But there is some difference between these two, and we are trying to understand what exactly and where exactly the developer and these after deploying where this code goes. So basically the Git is your magical undo button. So what exactly it does is like Git is like, we install something on your local machine. Okay. Git is a local version control system where you have a separate Git installation tool that you deploy in your local machine. Once you install it, you will be able to track every single change that you're working in your project. So there are some technical steps that you need to perform before it actually keeps tracking of whatever code changes that you are doing, right? So that is there. But what exactly it does is it tracks in such a way that line by line of code, like file by file. So think of it like a magical undo button for your code. Okay, you can, let's say a lot of people, work with different files. So I used to do this a lot. I used to come up with a final version, and I used to call it as, let's say, project name underscore final. But again, I got some information from my manager saying that, okay, Santhosh, you need to, update your code with these additional things. So that is the last minute update that I will get from my manager. What I do, I quickly update that code. I'll add like 4 or 5 lines, new script, and we'll make the new code. But what I do a save as, and I say project underscore final underscore v1 version 1, right? So I used to do this a lot, because what happens is, again, next day the client will review your code and you'll get some feedback from the client and you work on it. So I underscore v2. So what you are doing is you are trying to create multiple versions of the code. You are trying to create a lot of duplicates, right? So that is a mess. We are kind of messing up everything. So, and sometimes, like the other day, somebody asked you some feature, and next day they say, no, I don't want that. Again, bring it back to the origin. So you are doing a lot of back and forth of the code, and that is kind of making your entire code like cumbersome, and your multiple versions. End of the day, you don't remember like which version had this part of the code, right? So all that is there. So using Git, you will solve this big problem of source control or having multiple versions of the single code. Okay, you can instantly go to like 4 days back or 5 days back, wherever you did that particular change, right? You also see the comments. You have that entire source of truth so available at your fingertips. So that is on your local machine. So we are talking about Git, KGIT Git. Okay. So because that is what is needed for a developer who is working on a machine before they are finally sharing that with the customer or the client, right? So let's assume, I'll give you one example. Let's assume, let's say there are 2 friends, so 1 app and 0 conflict. So basically 2 friends are working on these 2 things, and they're building one of the app, right? So they need to have something like they are building the front end login page, and one is working on the back end database, but both are working on a single app, right? So these 2 friends basically, want some things to be worked, like they are trying to run the entire code and they wanted to see this code running, and they're doing some changes. So it allows you to work in a collaborative way where they can
Excuse
work
me,
together
sir.
in parallel. Hello. Yes, please.
Sorry, your voice is not as audible as much. Can you be loud?
That's it. Okay. Let me just
Sorry for
check.
interruption.
No problem. I'll just check my.
And for better understanding, please make sure to
Yeah.
wear headset.
Okay. How about now? Is it any better? I'm very close to the mic, so just confirm me if it is much better.
Yes, sir, it's better now.
It's better, right? Okay.
It's good, sir.
Cool. Thank you for confirmation. Let me quickly share my screen again. Okay. Okay. So I was giving you an example. Let's say there are 2 people working on the same project or they're building same app. So they don't want to, mess up, right? Say somebody else doing some other change in the code, and they don't want to interrupt the development, like one person's editing of one of the particular part of the script should not affect the other person's, work. So what we can do is basically we will basically work in a parallel way, where we can handle this part very well in the Git. So especially because he is working on his local source of truth, he's working, the second person is working on the local source of truth, and finally they can push it to a different branches or different features, and then they are able to collaborate together like as a final output. So this is how we work together in a company, right, where we are working as a team. There are 10 people working together on a single application that we are trying to build over couple of months of time. So Git will allow you to do this very easily. Okay. So again, before we go to the GitHub, right? So Git lives on your machine. So what it does is local first. everything you do in Git stays on your computer until you choose to share it. Okay, we have not yet shared it outside your machine. Okay, so by default it is private. So there's no internet required, no cloud needed. Your project history is yours. Okay, because that is all yours. And each commit is a saved snapshot. It's like a restore point in your Windows machine where you wanted to return back to any time, right? It's like a time machine where, so even if you want to go back like 1 month before whatever you have committed, like you can go back to that particular point in time. So now we understand a bit of Git, which is a local installation tool, and we have full control on the local. But GitHub is not exactly Git. So here's the boundary. So Git is a tool, GitHub is a platform. So GitHub is something which is on the website, which is online, right? Which is basically available for everyone, and where you can showcase your entire code to the world. It's like a cloud-based version. It's where your local work goes to meet the world. So whatever you have done locally, now is the final time that you wanted to deploy the entire code out to the cloud and share it with the folks, right? So that's how you use the GitHub. It's like a cloud-based, like you are just, as you can see in the image, it's like a main server, which is the platform, and there are too many laptops connected to that. That means like there might be 10 different people working on the single, part of the application or the deployment that you have done on the GitHub. But all these 10 folks are contributing to that particular, development. Okay. So again, like for newbies who are very new to this, like think it's like a Google Drive for developers, right? But not only just a Google Drive, but you can go back in time, like a time machine where you can go back with a lot of, even the line by line changes can be captured. Okay, you create a repository on your laptop. Basically, you push it to the GitHub. So the moment you say the local one should go to the, the cloud, so you kind of say push it to the GitHub. So GitHub is something which is on the cloud, and we say just push it to the GitHub. So you can create a repository. Repository is just like, it's like a main folder, like in simple terms. You hold all of your development, all of your code into one main folder, and this the same thing is called as a repository, and that is maintained on the GitHub. So we kind of push this local one to the cloud. And let's take an example again here, like what exactly happens when you do this, right? So you create a repository on your laptop and you push it to the GitHub. So you're done, like you pushed it to the GitHub. And suddenly a teammate in another city or another continent can pull it down. So you have pushed it, so you can pull it down and contribute the changes. Say you're working in India, you're done with your changes, you pushed it tonight, and next, like in their morning, right, in our night, somebody of your teammate is working in the night time, and he can pull it and just do some changes and then push it back again with some new updates. Okay, so it has a lot of version control from a solo tool into a global collaboration. So basically we are able to work and collab across the world. Okay, so as you can see the image, like basically they are creating and managing it locally on the laptop and then pushing it to the cloud, upload to a remote service, and the different team members can pull it and contribute their development in the same code. Okay. Basically, what happens with this is like more than just storage, we also deal with a lot of pull requests, right? So a lot of pull requests keep coming and review changes before they merge into the main code base. So there are 10 different people working on the same part of the code. 10 people will be generating the 10 pull requests, and then they will be working on the code, and finally they will be merging together, because the development can be split across the 10 members. Like you can split the entire work, like part of the code can be handled by one person and other persons like that. So it's also collaborative way we are able to build a very large project into multiple people, and that is how we able to deliver the output very fast, right? We can also track bugs like issues, feature requests, any new features, right? And to-dos in one single place. Okay. And we can also deal this, like whatever is happening, like using some project boards, like Trello is a free thing. So whatever that thing can be directly built into the repo. So there are a lot of integrations happening across the Git. So all these integrations can be tackled in the GitHub, because GitHub is like, now is the main, like source of code available across the internet. And especially the internet, like the AI that is growing, right? So the GitHub is also trying to look into the vast amount of code that has access to it, especially the generic code, the open source code, right? Because a lot of people who are doing the wonderful job, or doing some very advanced things, they are giving the entire code for free, so that everybody can access to it. So that's how they are able to create repositories and share it across openly using the GitHub. And also we can do automation. Basically, so any code has to be gone with some layers of testing, right? We do some testing before the deployment. There are multiple layers before we push the code into the production, right? From the development, we do some testing, QA, and then we try to do a lot of workflows in the internal testings, and then finally we deploy into the production environment. So this actually goes into multiple flows. So it can automate like into multiple branches, and the final version can be gone to the main branch. So there's a branching concept that maybe you'll be knowing in some time. But basically, I see a lot of people who are working very newly, right? So they just directly have one single branch and they keep pushing. Especially the person who was talking when I joined, right? He was saying like you've been working on the repository, creating repos, and working with Git for quite some time. But I'm not sure, like, as you mature your experience with it, right, you need to deal with working it with more realistically, right? In the corporate world, pushing directly to the main branch is strictly prohibited. Basically, we cannot directly push the entire code out to the main branch. So you kind of deal with multiple branches, like you add some features, like some odd fixes and releases, right? So all these go into different branches along different life cycles. That is what we are calling here as a workflow. So this is kind of very important part, especially for the experienced ones, right? So before even you hit a merge, right, there's something called as a merge. Before you hit merge with your code to the main code, you need to kind of do a pull request, and that has to be approved by your teammate, because you have to align a lot of things. Like the moment you go into the technicalities, when you're working in a collaborative way, there are a lot of technicalities that comes into picture, because there is something called as a peer review. Okay, so you have to do a peer review before you merge into the main code, right? So that is something which is very important. Yeah. So this is a very simple workflow that I was trying to show here, just like for the industry to understand. So what we do is like, it's like Git plus GitHub, the complete workflow. You build it in your local machine where you have Git, and push it to the GitHub. So push commits to remote backup, create remote, set up a GitHub repository online, and commit changes. So whatever edits that you do, or you snapshot that you record, right? So everything will kind of commit those changes, and then finalize, like initialize the repo, create a local Git repository. So this kind of a workflow is very, very important, and you need to see in the industry standards that we have a broader level workflow, but understanding in terms of technicalities, like going into very deep when you work on the ground level, you need to keep things in mind, like peer reviews, or before you merge, you do a pull request and get it approved by your colleague, right? And there are conventional commits, like you do some kind of bug fixes, and you do some commits, and they are openly available. Everything that you do and whatever bug fixes that you are doing, everything will be available over there. And coming back to the automation that I was talking about, those are basically used for the CI/CD automation, where you kind of continuously integrate and deploy the code. So you finally, the CI/CD is very important for any project that that you wanted to deploy this entire code after testing, after finalizing. So we use some workflows, and we kind of do some automations where the data will be automatically pushed into the from the local, like virtual machines, and to the cloud. So this runs automatically because we use some Python scripts over there, or we can use Azure DevOps. So in our project, we are using Azure DevOps, so that is tightly integrated again. So there are a lot of other things comes into picture, but majorly the understanding that you need to have is, there is some automation that can be possible, and this is again can be open source. So the main power of this GitHub is like it's an open source, and it is used across the globe, like all the companies. So as you can see, this exact system is how projects like React, Python, Linux are built by thousands of developers across the globe who have never met in person. So it was built with these folks. So Git tracks the changes, GitHub connects the contributors. Okay. And these are the like basic commands people are getting started. Like, you kind of starting with a new project, you need to initialize it using git init. So they are very simple commands. There's not much of a learning curve, but you need to understand the overall flow, and then you start working on the commands. So commands are very easy. There are not too many commands, but understanding the workflow, how this entire Git and GitHub is structured, what are the branches, when do you do the commit, when do you do the pull request, when do you do a peer review, everything is very important.
Sorry for interruption, sir. Someone have the doubt.
Sure. Can
So, sir, I'm 16. As I said, I'm 16, and I do use Git and GitHub in my projects. But one thing always bugs me, that why does Git make us go through so many steps? Modified, staged, commit, and then push. Why can't we just push? Why can't we just hit one button and send the code straight to the GitHub? Why there are so much stages?
See, the important point here to understand is, since it's a version control and source of truth, it has to deal with each and every line of the code. So even though you are doing 100 lines of change or 1 line of change, right? So you cannot just push it, because that might impact. So maybe you think you have that one repository that you are handling, but in real time there are hundreds. I have seen 120 people in one of the projects who are working on the big application, and all these 100 developers are contributing to the one single application, okay, which is falling into one repository majorly. So although they are doing branches wise and doing a peer request, it's a very big project. So imagine somebody who is doing one, let's say this button is enabled and it does something, pushes, and by mistake, maybe it's a human error. It could be a human error. It's always a possibility. It's done some very big mistake, right? Again, that would immediately impact the other 99 members that are parallelly working, right? Because this has to be tracked in a sequential way, where you need to have that peer review that I was talking about. Like, they have to approve your merge request, right? All these are very important. So there's a workflow structured, looking at the complexities in the real world, in the corporate world especially. So that's how it is structured. So when you actually deal with the real world, get into the corporate, right? So you will see the implications and the challenges that you have.
Got it.
Hope I answered your question.
You can ask. Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, go on. Who's this?
Sir,
yes, Siddharth.
GitHub is useful for UI UX designers.
Of course, why not? See, nowadays, entire UI and UX is also built using code. So you need to have that code. So the moment you talk about the lines of script or code, GitHub is definitely there. So basically, Git doesn't store any data. So if we are talking about, let's say, databases or data, so it will not store the data part of it, but the metadata, right? UI UX scripts, right? Definitely it is useful.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah. And also, like the other question, right? So we don't directly, even though you push it, right? We in the real world we try to keep it to the main branches. Like, we have multiple branches. Like, there's a branching strategies that people follow. Like, it's like a Git flow, where you are dedicatedly pushing it to a specific branch before you actually go to the main. So
Yeah, I'm familiar with that.
yeah, good. Okay. Yeah, I mean, that was my last point. I think I wanted to cover the basics of it. So We'll be getting more insights from the next speaker. I think Abdul is waiting right there. So can we transition to Abdul?
Yeah, sure, sir. Am I
Thank you so
audible?
much. Yes, Kaushik.
Yeah, please hand over. Yeah, take over. Please.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much.
Abdul,
Thank you so
stage is all yours.
Hello. Hi. Thanks. Hello. Hi everyone. Am I audible right now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Cool. Thanks, Santhosh, for the session. That was quite helpful. And yeah. So let me just share my screen here. Uh, so actually, I have a OTP, so don't worry about. I'm going to take a lot of more time. Uh, Most of the things were covered by Santosh, thankfully. So we'll be going on starting with the agenda of what GitHub is and how you can work around GitHub, see, build your own GitHub profile, and maybe even readme profiles. All right. And then we will also be learning about GitHub Copilot, which is something that's growing a lot more fan base for all the developers out there, and also not just developers, but as a student as well. So we'll be exploring how GitHub Copilot is going to learn into your learning journey, and as well as how GitHub is going to help you. So let me introduce myself. Hello everyone, I'm Abdul Vasay, and I'm a GitHub campus expert. Basically, what GitHub campus experts are, GitHub campus experts are the student leaders who kind of promote technology. So don't think that we are an ambassador for GitHub, but we promote technology. We help bridge the gap between industry and the students by building communities like tech communities where we go to different places. We talk about technology and how students can actually help and get grown into the communities. So that's something about GitHub Campus Support. And if you're someone who are student leader, I'm also I will also talk about GitHub Campus Support and how one can become a campus support. And before starting, if you have any questions or anything, you can feel free to drop in the comment section, like in the Google Meet, and I will be reviewing with that. All right. So, what are you going to learn after my session is something that you are going to create issues. You are going to create pull requests, repositories, commit, profile, and also be creating a new branch. Like you will be learning all of these things, and also I'll be saying web editor, like how you can start your own web editor. Even if you're like we have seen a lot of people who have storage complexity in your laptops or something like that. So we also have a web editors where you can work on it, you know. And yeah, we have a few version control description and everything, which we'll be talking about. So yeah, so uh, there was a statement given by one of the employee of the GitHub where they said we are currently preparing students for jobs that don't even exist. We are technologies that haven't been invented in order to solve problems we don't even know are problems yet. This was a statement given back in 2004. Now, if you can imagine, like there have been lot of progress into the technology with the terms of AI, machine learning, LLMs, Gen AI, a lot of these things. So back then people were already been ready for all of this kind of new technology, crazy technologies that they wanted to educate people, and something that GitHub was also part of it by creating GitHub Education. Now GitHub Education isn't something different, it's a part of GitHub where we as a GitHub Education team help students, help faculties, help the colleges spread more about technology, learn more about technology, what is AI, and a lot of other things. A small bio about version control, which already have covered by the Santhosh speaker. So it's basically a version control to keep track of things. All right, so like you'll be having each and every person will be having a lot of versions. So, for example, there is a person called Edin, and there is another person as Lance and Divya. So, all these three people are on a different places working on the same projects. Now, let's say, for example, and Erin is working on the header part or the HTML part, for example, and let's say Linear is working on the CSS part, which is the styling part, and let's say the guys working on the JavaScript part. So each and every person is divided into different parts so that each member have different its own purpose of learning, its own purpose of developing. Now it's not necessary that each person will be having only one problem. Let's say for example, on day one I have created a polygon, and on the day two I have created some other section. Now, what I do is every day or every part I divide into different versions instead of directly working on the same project or same thing. What I do is I work on the different versions, different part of the code, so that let's say I'm experimenting things and suddenly a thing broke. Instead of completely rebuilding or deleting the whole code, what I can do is I can go back to a version. Uh, anyone who uh, uh, anyone who knows an real-time example, or if you have any story that you can, do you want to share that key version control can be explained by so and so thing, you're most welcome. Like if you want to describe version control, what do you say? Or maybe even a real-time experience where you've seen that maybe this is a version control. Anyone who wants to say that? Uh, All right. So version control in a real time is maybe you can call. Let's say, for example, you're working on WhatsApp or maybe Instagram, and I'm taking WhatsApp and Instagram because this is the common thing which we may have seen or experienced in the past. So let's say if, sometimes the Instagram server or WhatsApp server goes down for a while, and we everyone won't be able to use the WhatsApp or Instagram app. uh, so what may had happened in the back, or and how did the companies overcome those problems within a fraction of seconds? Now you may be saying that's because they have one of the finest developers. But my question is, if they are one of the finest developers, then the problem shouldn't have been arised in the first place. That's not the reason they are finest developers, and that's the reason why they were able to solve the problem. But because they were using on the version control. So let's say, for example, uh, let's say they were working on something in the app. Let for example, they brought a new feature. Now they tested on their own laptop, their own programs, but when they push the code into the production, what happens is some unexpected error may occur. Now to tackle those error, what they do is they work on the versions. So instead of solving on the real time, what the developers do is they revert back the changes. So whatever they have pushed to the production, they just undo it. Basically, Control Z. I'm just saying Control Z. They don't do Control Z, but yeah, moving back, reverting back to the older version, so that the version is able to track down what the problem is on a backend side instead of working on the real world server. Uh, yeah, so that's how version controls are going to work. And a quick vocab repository is something that a folder branching commits. Commits is basically a message. So every time you make a changes, you write some message so that the other people, the other developers know what you are changing instead of directly submitting into a plain thing. And talking about branches, how many of you seen Loki series? Like Marvel's, you're a fan of Marvel or you have seen Marvel movies? Uh, yeah, quite people know about Marvels and Loki series. Now, this is the best example of version control or maybe even branching. So in a Loki series, if you see, the villain, goes to a different timeline. So whatever happens in the other timeline won't affect the real world scenario. Same thing, branching works on this concept that uh, even if you're working on some other branch, it won't affect the real version, the real time. We'll be learning more about branching a bit in the workshop. So Git distributed systems. So this is something a branching how it works. So this is the master branch, which is the oldest slang. In the currently new slang, we call it as main branch. Instead of master, we have changed it to main branch. All right. So let's say this is the main branch. That is the real life. All right. So every new feature, that is the orange new feature, you what you do is you create a different branch, you work on it, you make an experiment so that you're not affecting the real program. So you you change, you experiment, and once you're done with experimenting and you think that it is good to go, what you do is you merge into your main branch. All right. So same thing happens every time you want to change something. What you do is you create a branch, because if you change something directly on the main branch, it may be chances that you mess up the code, you delete something, or it can happen anything. So, in order to prevent ourselves from hours of coding, hours of frustration, what we do is we simply go with a different branch so that even if something goes wrong, it happens in a different timeline, which you can completely delete or you can completely uh, control how the things need to be changed. All right. Uh, I'll just talk about a little bit about open source, then I will be deep diving into demo of the things. So open source softwares is something that you get probably free of cost for to use to experiment things. Now, lot of companies work on around open source software. That is even Microsoft, Google, GitHub, FreeCodeCamp. Lot of companies work on open source because even your Python language is built up upon open source, and that's the reason why you are able to uh, use these things, use these tools for free of cost. And something that we have an open source community where open source community is basically all the developers, all the people around the world come for a purpose to help another developer, another person who is interested into technology. So something that we call it as open source contributions as well. So I'm believing that you already have GitHub account, and if you don't have GitHub account, you can directly go to uh, GitHub, and you can from here you can log in to your GitHub account. Since I'm already logged in, I'll be just showing it here. And if you have any questions till now, feel free to ask me. Now, this will be your home branch, like the home screen of github.com, where you can see the dashboard, search button, Copilot, and a lot of other things. Now, you may be not seeing this session in your own repository. This is completely personalized for me. And now GitHub Education, we have a lot of things. And from here, if we go, we can go to our profile. It's same like Instagram. All right. So this is my profile, which is public, and you can also search, like you can go here and everything. I'll just share you the link. Hello. Yeah, sorry about that. Uh, yeah, yeah. Uh, is my screen visible? So this is the profile which even it will have in the same thing. Maybe not. We have to customize each and everything here by adding all the details and everything here. So this is the graph where we'll be able to see how much a person is contributing on each step. Contributing is basically how much the person have been used GitHub here. This shows how much the person is involved with code review, commits, issues, pull request, all of these things. All right. Uh,
Yes, guys. If you have any doubts or queries, you can clarify from sir. Just feel free. Okay.
so once you go to your profile and you can go to repositories where you can create your own folder or repository, whatever you want to store. Let's say, for example, I want to create a new repository. By directly clicking on new, I can go for it. And in the name of the repository, I can make it any name that should be fine. So, let's say, for example, I want to go with Git workshop. Now, if you see here, Tiny, it is showing that Git workshop is available. Now, what does this mean is basically the link when you're creating a repository, it converts into a link. So by directly going Abdul Vasay -234 / Git workshop, you will be able to get this repository link. All right, so now choose the visibility. We can make it public or private. So basically, public is anyone in the internet can check my repository, see the code and everything. Now, if I choose it to keep it private, it will be only visible to me. No one else will be able to, what do you say, won't be able to see. And start with a template. Basically, templates. If you're working for a company, every company have their own way of working with own way of storing the files and everything. So what those companies do is they have their certain templates, predefined templates, so that if you're working in a company, you can directly go for the selected template and use the repository. Since we are not part of any company, we'll be not getting any templates here. And add README. README is basically a documentation of your project, your file, or anything, which will be completely written as a documentation of things in the time. So currently, I have turned it on and add .ignore files. Basically, .ignore files are the hidden files or the private files which is stored in your system or stored behind your code. So whenever you're using, let's say APIs, you're using Git commands. What happens is that there are few data, there are few code which needs to be restricted from being available on the internet or being available publicly. So what we do is, what GitHub has is, we have a feature of add.gitignore files. So it will read the files, but it will also ignore it to publicly push it. All right. So basically, you can select any language here. Let's say your complete project is built upon top of Python. So we having Python, and you can directly skip. Now, what it does is any hidden files, any hidden libraries of Python, which is sensitive for the project, you can directly add, and it will ignore those files. All right. So currently we don't have anything, so I'm just keeping it to no git ignore. And let's say licensing system. Now, since we are working on a public platform where uh, you're pushing your code to public, anyone can see the code. We have few licensing system to protect ourselves, to protect our code, to protect our product. Because what generally happens is when we are working on a project, we almost all the developers, they push the code into the website. They want to make it open source, yet at the same time they don't want other people to use it. And that's the reason why we have different licensing system to protect our code, to protect our thing. uh, One of the most common licensing system which is used by open source companies, open source people, or open source project is MIT license. Basically, MIT license is something that you are voluntarily giving out to people, saying that this is a project, this is a file which I want pushing it on the online, and any person, any student, any one can use my project and give it their name. All right. So any project you are seeing on the internet and it has MIT license, you can use the code, you can use their software and make a company out of it. You won't face any legal actions. Now we have a lot of other things as well. Let's say, for example, a company has used uh, any of the other licensing system. Let's say, for example, AppChain. So basically, anyone using AppChain license, you won't be able to use that code until unless you're giving credits to the person. Let's say, for example, this is a repository which I have created, Git Workshop, and I've kept the licensing as AppChain license 2.0. And some other person, some other speaker who want to use this repository as a showcase or anything, they can use, but at the end of their presentation or at the end of the talk or anything, they have to mention me, they have to tell that this thing was reviewed or taken by Abdul Vasay. All right. So that's how you can give yourself credit or anything. And that's it. Create repository. And this is the readme file which we have turned it on. So yeah. So if you are someone who wants to see the repository by clicking, you can also go here. The reason I shared this link is because in some time you will be contributing to this repository. All right. Now the repository is completely created. Now let's say I'm an external person and I've seen a mistake here, saying that there is no date. For example, let's say I want to add a date here. So Git workshop and today's date, that is 16th May. All right. So what I will be doing is I'll be creating an issue here. First thing, create new issue, and I'll be writing the title as missing date of the workshop. Now, in the description, I can more briefly describe what more problem about it. But currently, I don't want to add anything. I'm just keeping it blank. All right. Now, assign is something that, let's say you have created an issue. Now you want other people to uh, let know that you are working on this issue. All right. So let's say I have created an issue. And since the issue is created, most of the people, what they do is they directly go to issues, see any issues that we can solve. And let's say this is the issue, and I am working on it. So what I will be doing is I will directly assign myself to the issue, so that other person who wants to help, they know that I have already working on this issue, and I don't need any other person's help. Okay. Now, second thing, once I have created an issue, what I'll be doing in the next thing is I'll be creating a different branch. Why? Why not in the same branch? Even if I want to go in the same branch, I can directly go to edit file here, the small icon here. But so let's say I'm going to directly file, and directly I can add the date as 16th May 2026. Alright. So if you see here, commit directly to the main branch. Main branch is the original file branch which I can directly commit. But we don't directly commit into our code is because we don't want to change our code. We don't want to do anything. So what I'll be doing is, if you see here, this is the main branch. Here is the main branch, and there is a small arrow mark saying it down. So once I click down, and I can start writing or start giving it a name. Let's say, for example, patch patch one. Now, as soon as I write patch one, it is saying that create branch patch one from main branch. All right. So if you see here, the main have changed to patch one. Earlier it was main branch main. Now it is patch one. So is it clear? Now, if you have any questions or if you didn't understand anything, feel free to let me know. So now I can directly go here, edit by adding a date, saying it as 16th May 2026. All right. Commit changes. And if we see here, commit directly to the patch one branch. Earlier it was main, now it is patch one. This is a commit message which I said earlier. So I have it is saying that update project title with that date was added so that people know that what changes I have made and commit changes. Correct. Now, if you see here, date is been added here in my file. Now, let's say I have changed it to the main branch. The date is gone. Is because my changes was done on a patch one branch and not the main branch. All right. Now, what if I want to add the patch one details to the main branch? So what I will be doing is I will just here I have already got the option as patch one has recent pushes 17 seconds ago. So either you can click directly compare and pull request or go here pull request beside the issues, compare and pull request or new pull request, that should be fine. Now if you see here, it is doing comparing from patch one to the base branch. Base is something that's going to be merged into. So the base branch is main. So it is comparing from patch one to the main branch. And again, I need to add the title here and get pull request. Now, what happened here? What happened here is, if we see the complete workflow of what happened here, is uh, in our code there was date missing. So I'm a some other person, some other let's say this is my profile, and some other person came here and found that there is a date missing. So the first thing the person will be doing is creating an issue by saying that a date needs to be added here. And second thing is, if the person knows how to solve it, they can assign themselves for this project. But most of the cases, most of the companies, if you see, the project owner needs to assign a person. All right, I will just show you it later. And then I have solved the issue by adding the date. Now, what I've done is I have created a pull request saying to the project owner, hey, I have changed the request. I have added the date. Now it is your turn to merge my request. So let's say I'm the project owner. What I'll be doing is I will be going to pull request. I'll be saying files change here so that I know what the person have changed. Now, if you see here, there are two things changed. Red line is something that means this line was affected. This line was changed. Now, what was changed? Git workshop is same. Now, if we see here, the green line, here is the green line, but On the date, it is slightly more darker green color. That means in the complete first line of the code, this specific part was changed. Alright. So as a project owner, what I will be doing is I'll be going to submit review. I'll be writing as LGTM. It's short form for looks good to me. And then approve the project. Now I'm unable to approve the project is because this is my own profile, this is my own code. So I cannot self-review and self-approve my own code. Alright. So conversations. Now if I want to have any conversations, I can write let's say let's go to me and comment. Here it is. Now there is one thing. Now if you notice, this pull request is created on top of issue. Alright, this was the issue. This is the issue. On top of it, we have created a pull request. So what I'll be doing is I can do is directly go to hashtag and one. Basically, hashtag and one is the unique ID created for this specific project. If you see here, this is the hashtag one. Now, what is hashtag one? Hashtag one is the unique ID which was created for this particular issue. So, in my PR, if I write hashtag one, what it directly refers to is this project, this changes is the issue of the this one. Now, if you see here, in my issues, I can directly see there is a pull request set created here. Date was added. Now I can go here and merge pull request. Confirm merge. And then it is very mandatory. Once you change, once you created a branch, once you change things, once it is being merged, the most important part is to delete the branch. Why deleting the branch is very important is because you get if you don't delete the branches, if you keep on creating lot and lot of branches, there is a possibility that you will stuck into the loop. There will be loop as in you'll be facing conflicts, merging conflicts. Now, anyone knows what is merging conflict here? Merge conflicts when it happens and how it happens. Look like it's set to okay. Let me just change it. Let's say, yeah, it is private. I just completely forgot. So let's say I have now the repository is private. What I can do is I can directly change by going to my repository folder, go into settings. Now do remember this is not the profile wala settings, but the repository settings. And if you scroll down here, you can directly change the visibility, change to public. I want to make this public and then make this repository public. Yeah. Now I think you'll be able to now access the repository here. All right. Basically, code conflicts happens when you're creating a lot of branches. Uh, so let's say, for example, this is the line which is created in the main branch. Now we have created multiple branches, and in the multiple branches, it is not GitHub Workshop, and maybe it is just there is no date, and it is just basically Git, I guess. Git workshop IDs. So when you create a different branch, you will be what you'll be doing is just deleting it. So let's say, for example, there is already a space object here. Now, conflict happens when you create something another on top of it. So something which is already available, you cannot change it or you cannot directly merge by removing it. It is completely conflicts happens when things are built up on top of on top. All right. So just remember that, and you'll be able to get solved. And don't create lot and lot of branches. That should solve the issues. Now issues is done, pull request is done. Now let's say apart from all of these things, creating and this thing, there is one topic which is something that's important for you. So this is the homepage of the GitHub, and let's say you want to see what other people are working or something that you can work around. So if you click here, the menu tab, you can go to explore. All right. So if you go to explore, there are a lot and lot of projects or a lot of repositories in which you can go, you can work around, you can learn things. All right. So all of these things are repositories which are created for us to work around. So let's say I want to go topic wise. Go to topic now. I want to go with compiler issues. I want to work around CSS or I want to work around database, JavaScript, frontend, Node.js, NPM, Python. So I can go to Python. And there are a lot of other repositories which we can go there and see. Now, for example, this is the first repository. Now, if you see here, there is Python design, development, programming. Now, all of these things is for us to understand what this project repository is about. So, this repository is about Python development, programming, web development, designing, interview skills, web applications, web apps, interview practice, interview questions, designing system. So once you go here, you can find all of these topics. You can learn all of these things basically. All right. You have to read the README file. You have to see what each and everything is around, and you'll be having contribution guidelines. Basically, contribution guidelines are something that will help you use the project, use the repository, how to use it, because most of the time we don't know how to use the repository. So something now, if you see here, coding resources, if you go to here, coding interviews are available. So these are the stack views. DSA is available here. So like this, people have created for us to work around things to learn, basically open source contributions and everything. You can go here, search for things. You can get resources as well, I guess. Yeah. So this is the designing packages and everything. Now I want to see other things. Now awesome Python. So awesome Python is about collection, Python tools, libraries, frameworks. All of these things are available in this repository. And project-based learning. So I want to learn Python, which is of project-based. So I can go to this repository. I can learn. Beginner project is something that I'm a beginner and I can learn these things. So all of these things are available now, not just in Python, but in any topic which you want to go. So TypeScript, Scala, React, everything. And you can also see the trending topics, trending repositories, basically see what they are doing and everything. Now let's say, for example, this is something, and let's say I'm an open source contributor. I want to contribute something. Like contribute is basically I want to help the project owner with something. So I can go to issues here. The first step of exploring a project and you want to help the owner, go to issues. There are a lot of issues here that they want help with, and you can see the summary. What are the things? And in the bottom, you can write it as, "Hey, I know how to. Hey, I know how to solve it, and I want. Can you please assign me this issue so that I can work around it?" And once the project reviewer accepts, you can start working around it. All right. So this is a part of GitHub as well, and there are some few things, few resources which I want to share with you all. There is a Git command explorer. So let's say you are working around Git and you want to build something. So I want to, what you want to do? Click on this. You want to add something. You want to cherry up. You want to clone. Let's say I want to clone something. Clone a project. So I want to clone. Now in the clone, what you exactly want to do? You want to existing repo into the node directly. You want to create something another, so you can directly click, and you'll be getting the exact prompt which you can directly copy and paste into your VS Code or Git command prompt. And you can also see the node. The repo is cloned into the current dictionary that is so and so thing. Let's say you want to add something. You can go. You want to add a new branch. Uh, and you want to from another branch or something, so you can directly go git checkout be new name, you can type any name and another branch. So copy, you can go to command prompt and directly paste. Now this is a very exciting like whole website. If you are beginner and you are it's hard time for you all to remember all the prompts, you can directly go to this repository, sorry, uh, go to the website and you can check around it. And I guess there are a lot of students out here, so I'll be just talking a bit about GitHub Education. So GitHub Education Student Developer Pack. How many of you don't have Student Developer Pack, or you are getting it for the first time? So basically, GitHub offers a wide range of free premium softwares. Uh, yeah, Free premium softwares which you can use in your daily day-to-day life. So it will be offering GitHub Copilot free of cost. Foundational certificates, you can get free certificates through this program. A prompting or into web development, you can see web development, data science, mobile app development, everything. So all of these things are the pro version which you will be getting. Let's say, for example, GitHub Copilot, if you see, it is a paid version. So as a student, as a education sector, we get GitHub Copilot free of cost for us. And you are into web development or you have built a website, so you can directly host it free of cost with the help of DigitalOcean. You can go with domain name. So if you want to keep it, let's say, for example, your name is Ravi. So you can have ravi.com domain name and you can use the website. You'll be having Namecheap is one another domain name. Microsoft Azure is something that stores your data and everything. Like you'll be getting free of cost, free access to 25 plus Microsoft Cloud services plus $100 Azure credit. Now, if you're someone who is interested into cloud development, you can go around here, check Microsoft Azure. So all of these things valid till your student, and few things will be only valid till 1 year. So also you'll be getting free GitHub Pro version for free of cost. Protect domains, Notion, both Dev Codex is another a learning platform. This is a the lot and lot of things which you can explore around. And this is something a GitHub Copilot which offers like if you're someone who is interested into developing, mostly GitHub Copilot plays a vital role during the hackathons. There are a lot of hackathons which accepts AI prompts, so it is far beyond than like if you haven't chose, you must give it a try. GitHub Copilot, it will amaze you. Uh, Basically, GitHub Copilot understands your learning pattern, it understands your coding pattern, and then suggests you code according to it. And also, it rectifies what you're actually building. And according to that, it will help you suggest code, collaborate with other people, and a lot of things. All right. And there is one thing which I said about web editor, which is something that I'm going to show right now. Now, this is my GitHub platform. All right. Now I want to change this GitHub platform to VS Code. What I can go do is uh, I can directly GitHub dot instead of com, I'll be just removing com and writing as dev. So github.dev and enter. So I'm opening the web editor for the GitHub platform on top of GitHub platform and directly use VS Code uh, with my internet. So I don't even need to have VS Code installed here. It is setting up my editor platform. This may take a while. Yeah. So this is how you can directly switch to VS Code, like GitHub to VS Code within just fraction of seconds by changing the .com to .web, .dev. Alright, the VS Code is started. It's taking some time because my laptop has few issues. So yeah, and I can change anything here and directly merge into my code. There is one more thing, one more shortcut. I think someone has to, if anyone is if I'm doing an assignment, I'm using Git VS Code. Will it perform the same as normal VS Code? Uh, it is actually VS Code which is built for the web editors. All right. So yes, it will be doing exactly same like the VS Code, but it do have some limitations. Like for example, uh, let's say I build a website with my web editor app. Now there is a limitation that I cannot change or I cannot see the real-time changes. All right, because we don't have any live server here. Whereas in uh, uh, the VS Code which we have installed, we have a live servers, but since we are working on the internet, we don't have live server here. But apart from that, it works exactly same like VS Code which we installed. And let's say I want to go back to the normal GitHub profile. So again, what I need to do is I need to go to GitHub instead of dev. I need to simply go to .com and it will go back to my repository. There is one more shortcut here. Instead of changing .com, what I can do is I can directly click full stop and my VS Code will be open automatically. So I don't even need to change the link. I can directly click on full stop and the web editor will be open. That's again, but right now again, if I want to go back, I need to change it to .com and here it is. So that's it from my side. And if you want to go for GitHub Copilot Pro version, what you can directly do is you can go to github.com student pack, sign up for student developer pack. All right, and you can go since I'm already student. It's my already I have a benefit. So we need to start a application by saying by selecting the role. So let's say you're a student. So student, I need to write the college name. So I'm basically from Lord's College. So Lord's Institute of Engineering and Technology. And the moment you start writing, your college name will be up here. So for example, let's say we have Mallarati. Yeah, we have Mallarati College, all of these things. So you need to write the complete full form of things, I guess, and then you need to write your college verified email ID. You need to have college. Every college will be providing a email ID to you all. So if you don't, if your college doesn't provide a email ID, then there are other ways by which you can sign up. So and then click on continue, and you'll be able to verify. Uh, And once you are verified, if you go to your profile, uh, and Copilot settings, which is GitHub Copilot, and you'll be able to get the premium pack for free of cost. If you see here, you can see the licensing. Yeah, so all of these things will be available for you, and you'll be able to use Copilot for free of cost. So Philips and licensing. Yeah. So this is how you can get access to Copilot and everything. So if you have any questions or anything that you want to ask, feel free to ask. And that's with this, I'm wrapping my session. Yeah. So any questions?
Guys, if you have any questions during the session or in the ending the session, feel free to ask the sir. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it with my session. So I think we can wrap up the session. And once
Yeah.
again, thanks for you all for joining Saturday evening. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool, cool. Bye bye.
Hello everyone. I am Varshini Bolampalli, a part of the Student Tech and Careers. One of you have asked about the Student Tech and Careers. So it is a community which helps the students in giving the better vision and clarity on technical careers and conducts the sessions which helps the students. So I hope the session was helpful for you. And in the chat box, we have a Google form. Please fill it so that it would be easy for us to provide you the certificates and attendance, and review the session about how helpful it was for you. Okay, thank you.